Good evening, everyone. I am Captain Vipul Choudhary. I am the founder of Olive Green Consultants. By education, I am a Bachelor of Arts in Law and an MBA Finance from MDI Gurgaon, class of 2008. Today, we are going to discuss about some broad strategies of investment planning and financial planning and investment of your retirement corpus as to how it can be invested in a way so that you get a steady income while the invested amount also continues to grow. Now, it has been amply proven in research and studies that financial security is a very strong factor for improved uh, physical and mental health in senior ages. It impacts individuals and families in all the ways possible, with access to better healthcare, better access to better support services, mental comfort, and it's an established fact that financial security provides impacts the quality of life as well as longevity of life. So both longer life and a better life. With this, I'll start the presentation for today. We're talking about investment of retirement corpus, the right strategy. Now, what problem statement or what is the problem which we are trying to solve today? Some of you are already there or would be 65, and your capacity to earn from the fruits of your labor is going to decrease. You probably would want to spend maybe 1.5, 2 lakh rupees a month, but your incomes are not exactly there. Your pension would be say around a lakh or so. So now you get some corpus on retirement. You need to invest that and make sure that this 1 lakh is adequately compensated, oblique, augmented from the investments you have done in with that retirement corpus. So now you are dependent on your investments and the savings to combat age-related expenses, inflation, and the, God willing, longer longevity. I mean, you continue to live longer. Hence, your financial security now in your senior ages is going to depend on your the strength and quality of your investments. How good your investments are, what kind of robustness they have, and can they over a period of time combat the vagaries of market and the fluctuations of market. So that's the thing we'll be discussing. And what are the planning objectives basis which we'll go about it? So the first important aspect when we are doing a retirement or a financial planning is safety of capital. Come what may, we should make sure that the capital invested or the principal invested is safe. It is not subjected to losses or loss of principal. Then the second objective in this financial planning or in the retirement planning is steady income. Now, since you're not going to be earning from active work, whether it is a job or a business, etc. So you need to have a steady income so that your lifestyle is maintained and you are able to enjoy the same standard of living. Next is liquidity. In case of a situation arising where you need a large chunk of money, your investments should be divided or spread in a way that you're able to draw something out of that investment made if required, and you're able to get liquidity if required. Alongside, since you're now continuously withdrawing from your investments, so your investments or part of your investments should be made in assets from where you can continue to have capital appreciation so that your amount, let's say you're starting with 1 crore, out of which say 50 lakh is something you have invested in an asset from where you're drawing on a monthly basis. Say you're drawing 30,000 rupees from there on a monthly basis. Now the balance of the 50 lakh which has been invested in assets where growth has to happen, so that after 10 years when this 50 lakh has been consumed by the continuous withdrawal, the other 50 lakh which was invested in growth asset has now grown to say 2 crores, and you still are able to further continue withdrawing from that 2 crores for maintaining even the same life standards over a much longer period. And then is risk coverage in case you need to have some kind of a contingency planning or some kind of a risk coverage, especially if you are still young, you're still working, and you have dependents on you, and a handsome rate of return. So these are, I would say, when we have these objectives, the five broad principles or the five broad objectives are financial sufficiency, so that your investments are made in a way that you have regular incomes as well as growth. Then you have tax efficiency. Your investments are made in a way that you're able to get tax benefits maximum possible. You are able to grow your investments at least beating inflation, and your asset is growing. Capital preservation, under no circumstances loss of principal invested, and you have comparative ease and comfort when you're making these investments by the use of technology, by the use of financial expertise, and by the use of experience and skill of your financial advisor. So what kind of how do we maintain these how to achieve these five objectives which was covered in the previous slide? One, we would follow a five-pronged strategy, wherein we will hybrid growth with safety, having a conversation with the clients, we'll do a goal setting, then we'll diversify the risk in a way that it's spread across different asset classes so that you are not exposed to too much of a concentrated risk, and the fluctuations of the market can be handled. And then depending on the client's risk assessment, we would decide, we would have the investment preferences tailored to meet their requirements. And all this would be done by doing a proper goal setting, understanding the different scenarios, discussion with the client, reviewing of the existing investments and assets, and what kind of an aspirations you have, what kind of lifestyle goals people want to have going ahead in future. And therefore, with all this comprehensive discussion is how we'll meet the earlier five objectives using these five pronged strategy, and continue to then the final thing, that's rebalancing of portfolios on a regular basis so that we don't go off track. So that monitoring and rebalancing superimposes the entire effort of financial planning and has to be done on a periodic basis. So suggested, if I say, if there is an asset allocation strategy to be suggested, your asset should be divided into two parts: the growth part and the stability part. The stability part is from where you will continue to withdraw from the well a bucket of water every month, depending on the kind of expenses you have, and also withdraw from it periodically if you have already, we have some pre-decided goals that probably you need this amount of money for maybe a trip abroad, or maybe you need this money for financing a particular family obligation or a parental obligation, etc. So this stable part is where the investment is made in government schemes and senior citizen savings schemes in some kind of a debt fund, and so there is a judicious mix of the stable and the growth part of whatever investments you're doing. Even if you're building your retirement portfolio, let's say you're 35 years of age, then depending on your age, there has to be a balance of the stable and growth portfolio, so that you're able to also grow your assets for your retirement and have a bigger asset base. In terms of growth portfolio, where your investments will grow over a period of time, the two suggested asset classes are equities and real estate. You can approach these two asset classes in different ways. You can approach them directly, that's you can invest directly in equities and directly in real estate, or you can approach them through secondary vehicles. Say you can invest in equities through a mutual fund. Again, all kinds of mutual funds are available. You have small caps, mid caps, mixed caps, multi caps, large caps, index funds, etc. Similarly, in real estate nowadays, there are secondary market options. Say you can invest in fractional ownerships, you can invest in REITs, or you can take smaller positions in directly in real estate, wherein you can invest in affordable housing, you can invest in smaller commercial properties, etc. So the reason for investing in stable and growth is the stable kind of gives you a balance in your investment, and also helps you withdraw continuously for meeting your month on month requirements. More so when you have retired and now your source of income is either your pension or a combination of pension and your investments. And the growth part is to make sure that you have adequate financial sufficiency at all given times. When and there is a small bracket you see on the right corner of the screen. That particular thing, STP, is basically when you're putting your entire money of say 1.5, 2 crores of your retirement corpus, and you want to now invest it in various instruments. So STP is used as a tool or a measure for hedging against short-term volatility. Let's say there's a short-term volatility in the market. So STP is a smart or a jargonistic way of saying systematic transfer plan. So your money is kept in a very safe debt fund, usually a government treasury kind of a fund. From there, as per the discussion you have had with your financial advisor, on a regular basis, your money is then transferred to a choice of maybe a more aggressive debt fund or an equity based portfolio or maybe an REIT, depending on the choices made. What entails monitoring and rebalancing? The monitoring and rebalancing is where a review of investment is done. Have they met the stated objectives? Are they achieving the targeted returns? When we are setting up your portfolio, we get into a discussion, we draw a detailed financial plan wherein we say that have you met the stated objectives? Are the targeted returns, what kind of a targeted returns do we have in mind? Yearly, 2 yearly, 3 yearly, 4 yearly, a decade long. So when we review your portfolio every year, we should have that, have the targeted or the stated returns being matched. What have been the material and financial changes in your own life? Has there been some kind of an income enhancement? Has there been some kind of an unexpected expense? Is there addition to your family? Now, do they need to be added to the financial planning? Now, with this on a yearly basis, what kind of a adjustment and changes are needed to be done in the financial plan? And that's where after a year, we recommend to our clients to do a renewed goal setting and amend the financial plan, and to make sure that your retirement is progressing financially in a very smooth and comfortable manner. You are not stressed by your financial planning, and that's where the monitoring and rebalancing part is. Now, we are asked a lot of times, would it be prudent to invest some part of my retirement corpus into either equity or real estate or maybe a combination of both? The answer to that is that we cannot be advising our clients to put all their money in a debt kind of an instrument or in a fixed deposit on a corporate bond. Why? Because if we do that, there is no capital appreciation. And without capital appreciation, God willing, if you're living longer, say you're 19, 95 years of age, when you're a super senior citizen, and if you do not have capital left for you to withdraw from, then you would be in a situation which would be financially very stressful. And this can only be combated by putting your money in instruments where there is capital growth. And capital growth is either in real estate or in equity, either of the two or a combination of two, because the equity and real estate are directly pegged to the economic growth. And it is not possible for any investment portfolio to combat inflation and to grow capital without having exposure to equity and real estate. Quite possible when you're retiring, you already have sufficient exposure to these two asset classes and you have created a handsome base for yourself in terms of asset. Still, as a recommendation, we would still say that some part of your retirement corpus should also go towards either or a combination of both these instruments, that's equity and real estate. And that can be done through professionally managed mutual funds or through professionally managed fractional ownerships of real estate. But it should be there. So if you already are having a large exposure to these asset classes, then maybe you can reduce the percentages of the required exposure, but it should not ideally be zero. That's what our recommendation is, at times, if you are able to make a smart commercial real estate investment, which is also safe because that is very important, then a commercial real estate can provide you dual benefits of having rental incomes, which are almost equivalent to debt instruments. So you get a regular rental income and also have capital appreciation, which kind of handles the growth part of it. So that also is a recommendation for people who are able to do that kind of diligence and work with their advisors to find those kind of opportunities. Next question is, would I be needing life insurance? Now, there is no straight answer to it, so I'll kind of cover it in some points. Assess your liabilities. If you're retiring, assess your liabilities. If you do have some liabilities pending towards your family, towards your children, then yes, a pure term life insurance is recommended, but only a pure term life insurance, and you don't need to opt for the endowment or ULIPs, at least not when you're planning for your retirement. And then, when you realize that your liabilities have been met, you can discontinue the term life insurance. And term life insurance in any case is a renewable or a yearly contract. So once you realize that your liabilities towards insurance component or towards the pending liabilities have been fulfilled, then you don't need to renew your term insurances after that. So another question which is asked is commutation of pension. Everyone says, should it be done? Should it not be done? Well, as per our calculations, I've done some, I've covered it in a couple of talks separately also. Commuting the amount of pension is a beneficial step. It does offer an attractive cost of money at which you can take commutation. And if you are investing this commuted amount in, say, a high yield asset class such as equity or real estate, it's even better. It gives you a far better return in the 15 years period wherein you otherwise would be taking a non-commuted pension. And for those of you who have existing home loans, etc., they can use the commuted amount to pay off a higher cost of money home loan, and that's another benefit which you can take from commuted amount and the commuted lump sum you get. Uh, One place where an exception can be made is if you're a pensioner whose pension is not getting taxed because of, if you're a gallant soldier and if you have gallantry award, Senna medal and above, then your pension is not taxable as per the tax laws. Then maybe commuting, then you need to have that much more returns from the commuted amount, because otherwise the cost of money goes up for those pensioners. And also, if you have before retirement, if there is a disability pension coming to you and your pension is not taxable, then maybe, so for the non-taxable pensioners, it may not be equally beneficial to go for commuting. For others, I would say that it's a strong recommendation that you should go for commuting. Now, next is debt fund and indexation. In this, the recently passed financial bill, that's the budget. The finance minister has removed the indexation benefits from debt funds, and which has slightly reduced the attractiveness of debt funds. What was the indexation benefit? So earlier, if you had invested in a debt fund and held it for 3 odd years, then you could have taken the benefit. So whatever gain happened to you in a debt fund investment, out of that, the inflation index could be reduced. So that was a benefit available to you, which has now been removed. But besides that, debt funds are still a very appropriate way of investing your money and taking a regular withdrawal. And you can have a mix of debt there. You can have some very high quality debt such as the government treasury bonds or the government infra bonds, and then some mix of a debt wherein the returns can be bumped a bit higher. Again, a mixed strategy, not too aggressive that you get into junk bond kind of a thing just for the sake of a return. But debt funds cannot be completely ruled out from your retirement purpose thing. Uh, Further, is there an alternative to debt funds? Yes, there is an alternative, but I would say an alternative which should be approached with caution and diligence, and only if you have someone who can help you with finding the right opportunities. Commercial real estate, fractional ownership, there are companies which are offering it now. They provide you returns almost equivalent to maybe a debt rental yield, safety of the capital by an existing asset, and there is capital appreciation also. But commercial real estate is a risky asset class. You should not approach it directly. The regulation around it is still not strong. So there is an alternative, but the alternative should be approached with caution. This is a recommendation for short service commissioned officers. They do not have a pension, and that's a huge challenge. That's a big challenge for them. I would say your primary question which you should be answering for doing your retirement planning is to create assets for pensions. So if you're now coming out of Forge and if you do not have a house, please go ahead and buy a house wherever you can afford. Don't bother if you're going to work in Bangalore or Mumbai or NCR and you cannot afford a house there. That's okay. You can continue to stay on rent there and maybe buy a house in a tier 2 or a tier 3 city. I would be quite comfortable even if you're buying a house in a place like Agra or Jalandhar, or where you have a sufficiently large cant to support your needs in your retiral years, and in the interim you can continue to work in one of the top metros to find suitable opportunities and to continue to grow in your career. But do not miss out on the aspect of buying your house as soon as possible. And there are viable opportunities in smaller cities, comparatively smaller cities, say Jaipur, Lucknow, Bhopal, Dehradun, etc. On their outskirts, you can pick up something which will suit your long-term needs, maybe a three-bedroom or something. Put it on rent, and in the interim, continue to work in one of the bigger cities. As short service officers, your challenge is to earn at least 40% more than your peers who will continue to serve in the forces, and only then you'll be able to meet the fact that you'll not be getting a government pension for as long as you're going to be there. So focus on developing your corporate career, earn a lot of money, earn more than what your peers from who will continue to serve will earn, and be very, very growth oriented in your investments. For the 60 plus years officers who are now superannuating, if you're 54, 56, 58, 60, you have completed a glorious, prestigious service with the forces and now you're retiring. The recommendation one, consolidate your real estate. Armed forces officers typically tend to buy real estate all over the country. Wherever they get posted, they pick up something, those kind of things. Now, if you finally decided that you're going to settle in Firozpur, might as well consolidate your real estate, the one you purchased in Pune, the one you had purchased in Hyderabad, and the one in Jodhpur. Sell all of them. Start the process. Start the process of consolidating your real estate. By the time you are 60, 65, your real estate should be consolidated with you. Now, second recommendation would be, if you already have a loan on you, please try and pay off your loans by the time you are 65. So that includes the housing loan, etc. You have. So some part of your retirement purpose, if you are superannuating, can go towards repayment of a big loan if you already have a housing loan going. Third recommendation, and it's not exactly a financial recommendation, but I tend to make it to especially to officers who are superannuating. You have a major challenge in terms of having contacts outside the Fauji circles, because you have spent a considerable time in Fauj, especially if you are now 58 or something. So, move out of your comfort zone, start having more social contacts outside Fauj, forge new friendships. Don't keep yourself contained to Fauji circles. Maybe join a community club, because it has been again proven by research that people who are more socially connected, they have healthier and longer lives, and that's what we wish for you. And further, I'll make a home buying recommendation for short service officers. There are 4 cities. I am limited by my research and understanding of North India. So this is a North India based recommendation. People can similarly find similar recommendations for the southern part of the country. So four cities in North India where short service officers can find viable options for their home buying: Jaipur, Lucknow, Bhopal, Dehradun. Sufficient can support. All these places have good officer institutes, DSOA or equivalent, golf course, big cans. They are state capitals, so good law and order, well connected. Even as of now, they have airports, all of them well connected by railways and national highways. Sufficient social infra in terms of providing you medical care, education, and culturally also they are vibrant cities. They are slowly getting into being more cosmopolitan and bigger cities. uh, Employment opportunities may not be that handsome, but over a period of time they might offer you that also. And good price appreciation is happening in these four cities also for real estate. So any investment done now, I'm quite confident in next 10 plus years they'll be able to fetch you very good returns. And in the outskirts, the budgets are still quite within your buying comfort. So instead of waiting that, or thinking that the top six cities of NCR or Mumbai or Pune, Bangalore, Hyderabad, etc., will reduce in price, better that you start looking for options in these four cities and buy your own properties. So I'll just do some corpus investment, very broad outlines now, and these are very broad, do-it-yourself kind of. This is a very broad outline. Suggested mix for a 1 crore investment for people who are very conservative. They can target a 10.45 annual compounded return by making an investment of around 45 lakh rupees in equity and real estate. And this conservative would be more recommended for officers who are in the late 50s, kind of a thing, those who are now coming after superannuation. You can take a 30 lakh exposure to debt. This is more also, you can also take it in terms of percentage. If your retirement corpus is higher, then the percentages can remain same and the amounts will vary. You can take a gold investment of around 15 lakhs, and this can be done through the instrument of a sovereign gold bond, which has advantages as compared to a physical gold investment. You can keep 10 lakh rupees as liquid towards your fixed deposits and similar instruments. So this kind of a portfolio over a long period average should give you around 10.5% compounded annual return, which implies that your portfolio over a period of 7 years should double in value. 6.5, 7 years should double in value. For a moderate investment portfolio mix is the next suggestion, wherein you can take a 60% exposure in equity or real estate or both, and 20% in debt, 10% in gold, and 10% in liquid. This would be more recommended for officers who are coming on early release in the late 40s, and they still have another 10 to 15 years of work wherein they would like to develop and their careers and work in the corporate. So they can take a slightly more higher exposure to equities and real estate to develop a stronger asset base. For short service officers, if they are coming out, we would recommend 80% exposure to equity and real estate so that they are able to develop sufficient, I would say, they're able to develop sufficient capital for meeting their requirements towards having a pension in their senior ages. The last slide of the day: why olive green? I mean, if at all you wish to engage us, we have a much wider and diverse client exposure as compared to some of our competition, in terms of the fact that we service clients across armed forces, we have clients across central armed police forces, we have clients in PSUs and corporates. So we are able to give you exposure of the best investment and financial practices across different kind of clients. Our vintage as compared to a lot of our competition, those who are servicing armed forces officers, is much longer. We have been in the industry for 17 plus years, and it's me and my partner and cousin majorly who run this practice. So I'm my partner is he also has been meeting you all through online meetings. He's Jitendra Choudhary. He's SEBI registered investment advisor, AMFI qualified, IIDA certified. and a goal planning certified specialist from the Reliance Finance Academy. Then we have a chartered accountant who is empaneled with AGIF, etc. So we have a fairly robust team who can help you in terms of taking helping you with your financial planning. And then we are one of the only organization which has products across. So most of the people are able to provide you mutual fund, and that's why there is a strong emphasis in their narratives on being mutual fund heavy. For us, that's not the case. We also help our clients in do it yourself. We just provide the financial planning part of it, and you can use the direct route and make your investments yourself. We have wider offerings of real estate, life insurance, health insurance, REITs, sovereign gold bonds, etc., etc. So you basically, when you're dealing with us, you have a one-stop solution in terms of all asset class available, and the financial instruments through us are all provided on through our tech platform. You have a login and a portfolio management service through our tech platform, so you don't need to actually uh, obviously real estate cannot be done. So other than that, it's a complete tech platform. So what I can say is when others take your retirement purpose or your financial planning as an opportunity, our philosophy is that we take your faith in us as a responsibility. So I don't make too aggressive claims of being able to provide you, I don't know what kind of returns, but our claim is that we'll protect your money and we'll be there with you till the time you want us to be. And with this, I can say that, it would be, our effort would be to make sure that you're financially sufficient and you continue to meet your objectives and have a steady cash flow to augment your pensions and have a good standard of life even in your retirement. I am done with this.
You gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind.